EastEnders is about to bring back not one, but two familiar faces from completely different eras, and one of them hasn't been seen in nearly 30 years? Yeah, this isn't just nostalgia, this is something much bigger, because BBC has officially confirmed that Walford is welcoming back two major returning characters, and their comeback is already shaking long-time fans. But here's the twist, these returns aren't random. They are deeply connected to the past, and emotionally tied to one of the soap's most beloved characters. Let's start with the first return, a name that older fans will immediately recognise: Josh Saunders. If you remember EastEnders from the late 90s, then you'll know exactly how rare this return is. Josh Saunders, played by Jon Lee.
Jon Lee, who later became widely known as part of the pop group S Club, is now returning to acting roots that many fans had almost forgotten. And stepping back onto the EastEnders set was, according to him, surreal, like walking into a place frozen in time, but also filled with memories that never fully disappeared. And that's exactly what this return represents. Not just a character coming back, but a bridge between two completely different eras of EastEnders. Josh's original storyline may not have been the longest, but his connection to the square and the people within it still holds meaning. And now, that meaning is being brought back into the present. But just when you think that's the biggest surprise, there's another return waiting in the wings. And this one hits a very different emotional note. Because next up, we're talking about Clare Bates. Played by Gemma Bissix, Clare Bates is a character with a much deeper emotional history in Walford. And unlike Josh, she hasn't been completely absent in recent years. She actually returned earlier during Nigel Bates' dementia storyline. But this time, her return carries a different purpose, a more final connection to the past. Clare isn't just another resident of Walford. She is deeply tied to one of the show's most emotional family dynamics. Because Nigel Bates didn't just know Clare, he raised her. He stepped in after the death of her mother and became her father figure. Not legally, but emotionally. And in EastEnders, that kind of bond matters more than paperwork. Their relationship wasn't perfect. It had complications. It had tension. It had history that evolved over time. But at its core, there was always one thing that never changed: love. And that's what makes Clare's return so powerful. Because she isn't just coming back to Walford as a visitor, she is returning as someone who carries a lifetime of shared history. Gemma Bissix has spoken about the importance of bringing Clare back, explaining that it always felt right for her character to return at this stage of the story. Not for drama, not for shock value, but for closure of relationships that shaped both characters' lives. And that's where...
And emotionally designed. Sometimes it's about legacy. Sometimes it's about reconnecting story threads. And sometimes it's about reminding viewers that no story in Walford ever truly disappears. It just waits. And that's exactly what this feels like. A reminder that the past is never really gone in EastEnders. It always finds its way back. Isn't just a nostalgic surprise. It's a statement that even the smallest chapters in Walford history still matter. And Clare Bates returning isn't just emotional continuity. It's proof that relationships built in the square never fully end. They evolve. They resurface. They return when the story demands it. And that's what makes these two comebacks so powerful. They are not just character appearances. They are emotional echoes of EastEnders history. And for long-time fans, this is the kind of storytelling that hits differently, because it reminds you why you started watching in the first place. Not just for drama, but for connection, for memory, for legacy. So now the anticipation builds. What role will Josh play after all these years? Is his return just a short appearance, or something that impacts the future of Walford? And Clare, what does her presence mean for the people she left behind? And how will she fit into the present-day square? These are the questions that make this return storyline so engaging. Because nothing in EastEnders is ever just simple nostalgia. There is always a purpose behind every return. And as both characters step back into Walford, one thing is certain. The square is about to feel very different. Because when the past walks back through those doors, it doesn't just bring memories, it brings change.